just a couple hundred feet up to the cliff at the Buff Preserve. I wanted to sport my my hooded romper. I've never wore it yet, so today Curtis bought it for me, and I was like, I'm gonna wear my hooded. Yeah, it was a while back ago. Anyway, welcome to OLOPRV. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Curtis.
And we're the Wagners, and we have a few questions we wanted to talk about because we have the same questions that get asked a lot.
Yes. We're not fancy enough to do live Q&As yet, but these are questions that we've been asked, and now that we've completed our second show, these are the top questions that we get. Yeah. And the number one would be, what was it? The first one, no. I'm asking the questions. How long did our build take, and how much do we spend? That is always the number one thing people ask. Yes. So the answer is somewhere between 8 and 9 months to get it on the road and going. Mm-hmm. We did some extra work after that, of course. And if you've owned a schoolie or thinking about a schoolie, they're never really done. So you're always working on it. So to say, how long did it take you to complete it? It's still progress. 2 years. Yeah. But we did use it while we were renovating it to see what we wanted inside of it and how we wanted to change things up as we were trying to decide how much we really needed. Yeah. And so, you just... Sorry. I just stepped on his toes. I get excited. Of course. But yeah, you do have to live in it, and you got to see what you would use the most, because we realized we didn't really want the Instapot in here. Little things like that, and what you're going to put in here, what you want to take out is a big deal. Yes. So. Long Beach. So our RV park is right here amongst. Here it is, right here. Our RV park. But it's actually in the city. It is called Golden Shore. Golden Shore. What is on your mind, honey?
I said that to me in town. I was like, it sounds just like that's what was going on. Bye, y'all. Bye, Curtis.
Thank y'all so much.
Other than that, our next question is, even though we tell people we never hook up to electricity, people do not understand what that means, I guess. Or they don't believe it, one or the other.
They'll say, oh, how long do you go before you plug in or have to charge? I'm like, we charge every day with solar, but we never hook into electricity. And they're like, oh, so you can go 3 or 4 days before you have to hook up? It's like, no.
They always trying to tell us that we're hooking up to electricity.
Yeah. They know that we're having to plug in somewhere. And the only thing we plug in for is water.
Yeah. And so the last show we went to, we actually had, I think, the AC in the back and heater on the front going, just to prove a point that, and we showed everybody that walked in that no matter if we're using whatever, we still maintain that 99% or 97%. I think we got to the lowest. 97% of our battery power still. What?
I don't know what you mean.
It wasn't always 99%. It goes down and fluctuates.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think the lowest...
I mean, during the show, we got down to 89, I think.
At night. Yeah. And I'm talking about during the show when we were actually showing.
During the show it stayed full charge because we produce a lot of solar, and it was producing close to 2,000 watts an hour, so...
Almost every night we get down to 85 to 80% of our battery bank.
Mid-80s, yeah.
Yeah, and that still gives you about 3 to 4 days, and once you get... I mean, you always have solar the next day no matter what, so it usually builds back up by 11 or even sometimes 10 o'clock, it's back to 100%. So we're always scrubbing electricity, so we have more than ample amount to stay, I think, in our book. Right now, how long has it been now?
17 months.
17, okay.
A year and 5 months.
Much better, I like that. I don't like 17 months.
A year and 5 months?
My brain don't count. I'm really, whatever. My brain's a little slower than his anyway, so. What was that? I think of babies months. I don't think of. I don't do time in months.
How about you could birth 2 babies by then? Does that help?
That's 18 months then.
Well, we're right at 18 now.
We gotta get specific.
Close enough.
What is the benefit of doing the tiny house festivals? We got that almost
Oh, yeah.
everybody that came in.
What do we gain by doing this? Do they pay you?
Yeah, and we said no, of course not. And I basically told people that we basically do the shows just to show that it's possible that you don't have to go without anything to enjoy to have solar. It's not like you have to go without just to have solar.
Living off grid comfortably is easier to do than you think.
And
we have all the comforts of home, and we don't pay an electric bill.
Yep.
Yes, we paid it up front by solar panels, good equipment, and good batteries. So, the old expression, pay me now or pay me later, well, we paid it up front, and we're right now reaping the benefits.
Oh, and I also did tell people the second part of what I would tell people is we also are starting a YouTube channel, and so every little bit of
everyone who comes in and takes a tour is a possible follower, and
that's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
Yeah.
We didn't make a special trip, because I had one guy say, "You drove 1,800 miles to come to this tiny house," and I mean, technically, yes, but we were driving that 1,800 miles anyway.
So, that goes into the question of where do we stay?
Yes. Our goal was to stay basically free park in BLM land, Harvest Toast, a couple other places, maybe someone who's offering up a night or two stay at their house for a minimal fee.
Yeah.
Schoolies are not as welcomed in what we call Class A or nicer RV parks. KOA, as much as the groups I'm on tell me, "Oh, you're welcome everywhere," that's BS. We call, or we've been to and gotten rejected several times. And, we love our bus. We think it's beautiful. We think it's nicer than some of the ones that are out there. But anyway, I digress. So we stay in state parks, federal parks, county parks, or if we're traveling like from A to B, we'll stay in truck stops or rest areas. We try to avoid the truck stops, mostly rest areas.
I like the truck stops, but Curtis doesn't like them for some reason.
Well,
it's mainly geared for truckers, and that's our last resort.
And that's kind of their thing. But if I've stopped and I've filled up with, 80 or 100, or we have a 100-gallon tank, if I put 80 gallons of diesel fuel, I have no problems with it. They can say what they want to do or do what they want to do. But, if we're using that place, but we try to use places that have RV parking. And so far we've been very fortunate. One time we stayed what I call in a trucker's area, but it was up on the dirt, and not every trucker was willing to take their truck where we put our bus.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind it as much. Plus, they had a great restaurant there. It was a fantastic restaurant.
Right, that was really nice there. But that's another thing is we do all the parks and different things, and but we don't want to be limited only to RV parks.
Right.
But we've kind of gotten creative because we are more limited on where we can stay in a schoolie. So we have went to RV and RV storage places. Sometimes might let you stay on property, and restaurants and different things. If you're supporting them for the night, if you don't mind staying there until the morning.
Sometimes they don't mind. Sometimes they say, "Oh, we can't."
But we always ask only places that have ample parking, and you got to be smart about it too, and just be honest, and that helps out a lot.
Like we stayed on the PCH a couple times. Had a really good time.
Yeah.
And it was one time there was this gorgeous
were more limited for sure. So we did do some, quite a few RV parks just for our luxury, and we stay here in RV parks for the water, so we do catch up on all of our laundry.
And a lot of California is 30 feet and under for their campground. So be aware of that 30 feet and over, you're limited. I mean, if you're in a van or a, what do they call those? Van. If you're in a van or a small schoolie or short bus, you're not going to have near as much trouble. We're 34 feet, and it's caused a lot more trouble than I thought.
Yeah. And then the absolute last question that I was going to add to it is
the most personal.
The most personal question is
and it's not where do you go to the bathroom.
No. Is where do I stay at? You know, there's like what a lot of times they'll be like, well, your dad probably stays in the back, and where do you? And I'm like, well, we are married, so
not father and son.
I only call him dad one time a day. Just joking.
Hopefully you cut that out, because that's just wrong.
But other than that, I stay in the back.
We're a married couple,
so we're
you know?
married. So.
But
But
if you don't
some
like it, I
people-
apologize. It's just, you know, love is love, and you know, we live in the land of the free, so it's a non-issue for us.
Yes, no, and nobody ever cares. They just was always curious, and they,
Oh, you get some browns.
yeah, but not many.
Some of the older women, a couple of the older women were like, you know, is that your son? No, it's my husband.
Yeah,
And they kind of walk a little
they don't know what to say at that point.
Right.
I think they're just embarrassed. I don't think it's a frown.
It is what it is. So anyway, we're hoping you're enjoying our content.
Yep.
We're trying to work on it. It's very hard, and we are trying.
Yep. So, and trying to figure out what day to actually post on is another issue with me, because I don't really like doing it on the busy YouTube upload days. I like to do it before the YouTube upload. So I might change it to Tuesday.
Okay.
So it gets published before the big day of YouTube. So, but anyway, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
And hit the bell notification.
Bing.
Bing.
Oh.